Hi, you're on Truth Unraveled, real stories, raw confessions, where hidden truths come to light and hearts are laid bare. I overheard her call my cooking amateur, a joke to her friends, and it shattered something in me. It was a Sunday afternoon, the kitchen still warm from the oven, the air thick with the smell of roasted garlic and fresh rosemary. I'd spent hours perfecting a braised lamb shank, arranging it on her plate with a drizzle of balsamic reduction, like some kind of wannabe chef. She was on the phone in the living room, her voice carrying through the open door, sharp and careless. "Evan's cooking. Honestly, it's amateur at best," she said, laughing, her tone brighter than it ever was when she tasted my food. "He tries so hard, it's almost cute, but it's like a kid playing chef." My chest tightened, my hands froze on the cutting board. I stood there, knife in hand, feeling like the floor had dropped out from under me. I'd poured my heart into every dish, every meal, thinking it was a way to connect with her, but I didn't know then that this was only the beginning of her secrets. I didn't confront her right away. I couldn't. Instead, I started noticing things I'd ignored before. The way she'd push my carefully plated dishes around with her fork, barely eating. The way she'd praise her coworker Lila's professional catering at office parties, while my homemade dinners got a polite smile and a thanks, honey. I started digging, not out of spite, but because I needed to know how deep her disdain ran. One night, after she went to bed, I opened her laptop. She never logged out, assuming I'd never snoop. In her email, I found a folder labeled Work Events. Inside was an exchange with Lila, not just about catering, but about a recipe. Lila had shared a creamy mushroom risotto, one I'd seen Claire serve at a dinner party, claiming it was her own. "Your recipe was a hit," Claire wrote. I passed it off as mine. No one suspected a thing. My stomach twisted. She'd been taking credit for someone else's work, while calling mine a joke. I kept scrolling, finding more photos of her at cooking classes, receipts for gourmet ingredients I'd never seen in our kitchen. Then, a bombshell, an email about a local cooking contest, the annual Harvest Plate, with a $5,000 prize. She'd entered last year and lost, but her application for this year was already drafted, boasting about her risotto. I sat there, staring at the screen, hollowed out. I'd been cooking for her for years, thinking it was love. She saw it as a punchline. I knew the truth now, but I wouldn't scream. I'd planned my exit in silence. I didn't cry or slam the laptop shut. Instead, I decided to turn her lie into my truth. I copied her risotto recipe from the email, every step, every ingredient. I practiced it for weeks in secret, tweaking it, slightly adding a pinch of saffron, a splash of truffle oil until it was better than hers could ever be. I entered the annual Harvest Plate contest, not under her name, but mine. I didn't tell her. I didn't need to. The night before the contest, she came home late, humming, carrying a take-out bag like my cooking wasn't even worth mentioning. I smiled, asked about her day, played the part of the oblivious husband. The contest day was chaos, bright lights, clattering pans, judges in crisp white coats. I plated my risotto, golden and fragrant, and watched the judges' eyes widen as they tasted it. Claire was there too, in the crowd. Her own dish entered, a lemon herb chicken she'd bragged about for weeks. She didn't see me until the winners were announced. First place, Evan Harper, for an exquisite saffron truffle risotto. The crowd clapped, but her face froze, her fork pausing midair. I didn't look at her. I accepted the trophy, the check, and the praise, letting her stew in the silence of her own lie. That night, she called me, voice shaking. "How could you do this?" That was my dish. I didn't argue. I left an envelope on the kitchen counter, a copy of her email too. Lila, time-stamped, proving the recipe wasn't hers. I walked out quietly, no goodbyes, on my own terms. For the first time, I held the power she never saw coming. I moved out a week later, renting a small loft downtown with a kitchen big enough for one. I started cooking again, not for her, but for me. Experiments with bold spices, dessert side. Never dared try before. I joined a local cooking club, where people tasted my dishes and actually meant their compliments. I even started a blog, sharing recipes and stories, finding a voice I'd silenced to make room for her laughter. Claire, I heard, tried to spin the contest loss a misunderstanding, but her coworkers stopped trusting her culinary genius. She moved to a new city, chasing a fresh start, but I didn't need to know more. I learned my lesson. Silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. Trust your gut. Leaving isn't losing. I didn't break. I started living free for the first time in years. Thanks for being here and for listening to Truth Unraveled, Real Stories, Raw Confessions. If you've ever felt erased, mocked, or small in your own life, know this: walking away can be the bravest, loudest choice you make. Before you go, tell me in the comments, what's one moment in history where someone turned betrayal into triumph? I'll be reading everyone. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs a reminder that truth always finds a way. Until next time, stay true, stay strong, and never ignore the red flags.